Right now, we sitting here at the Upper Boxing Center where we always meet at. This our meeting ground since we was amateurs and whatnot, right? He's coming. We waiting for our champ to get here so we can just go come on down the mall and see what's ready to unfold.
Y'all getting the last little bit of Gervonta that y'all gonna see. I'm gonna make sure I do what I'm supposed to so I can be the best I can.
2 sparring partners and rounds is unknown.
All right, y'all. Let's go.
When they watch us in here working, they saying we going bang, 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 bang.
There you go. Good. There you go.
When he get in that ring, he's on a mission. Because he understand that he got to put his pants on, training wheels going. You got what you asked for. Let's get it now.
Slow it down. Good work.
Okay, so before we even get started, I need you to lock the door, put your phone face down, and promise me you will not share what I'm about to tell you. Because allegedly, and I mean allegedly, what has been quietly unfolding behind the velvet ropes of the entertainment industry is the kind of story that publicists are reportedly paying very good money to keep up off your timeline.
Man, I call it three things. I look at Tank trying to find himself as the businessman, the fighter, and the family man. Nobody can give him a name. You know, he ain't come around that stable American way of life where he can learn from it. He will see glimpses and pieces of different people's life. He tries to get into it, but he don't really understand it. So right now, he's just trying to find himself. I look at him and look at myself. And I had my journey too, you know, and I see his journey. His journey is different.
You know, I could do anything, especially in your backyard.
You gonna feel all we gotta do? Look, hey Tank, we gonna go 35.
And we are about to blow the lid wide open right here, right now. No filter, no apology. Because look, you clicked, you stayed, and you deserve the truth. Or at least the most dramatically compelling version of speculation the internet has ever seen. So buckle up because we're starting with Tank Davis. And
Since he was a kid, his biggest fear is losing. I'll never forget this day, and he told the story himself. I believe we were in Vegas. Adrian Broner was fighting. And I turned around and Tank, he was crying. Well, what are you crying for? He said, I want it. And I said, you want what? He said, I want all of this. He was so in awe with Adrian, the accolades and him winning titles, blah, 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 and he wanted to be that guy. And when I saw him crying, I was like, wow, you know, I stepped off. I said, wow, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna have to worry about him. You gonna fight hard to get it.
now I promise you this makes sense. We are ending somewhere that will make you question the entire celebrity machine as you know it. Because reports suggest that the comeback story being quietly assembled around Gervonta Tank Davis is not just a boxing story, it is allegedly a masterclass in image reconstruction that several unnamed industry insiders are apparently calling one of the most calculated PR pivots since a certain pop star announced a world tour exactly 48 hours after a very public situation disappeared from the news cycle.
If same thing that
fighting perspective.
Same thing that I said with T.O. If anybody got issues with me or feel some type of way about me, you could come see me on fight night and resolve every issue that you got.
Yeah.
I stand by that with anybody.
But keeping it boxing.
That's boxing.
No, I'm just saying.
That's not boxing?
Yeah, no, I love it. No, you got to do what you got to do.
Right, like.
I just want to see. I want to know. I'm just asking, realistically, will we ever see y'all two in the ring? However way it get there, will we ever see that match?
I would love it.
Looking back at the bigger picture though, Shakur keeps it real about the history, admitting that back in the day, the vibe between him, Tank, and the other young guns coming up was actually cool at times. But everybody in that circle knew it was never going to stay that way forever, not when you are all chasing the same thing at the top.
I always knew I'm the one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always knew. And I feel like deep down, like they probably won't say it, but they know. They know. It was cool at certain times, But deep down, everybody know as a competitor, it's only so cool it can get.
Cause we gonna have to face each other.
So
Copy.
You already know who I'm talking about, but back to Tank. Because his trainer, Calvin Ford, is out here in these streets, allegedly running what online observers are describing as a near-military training regime, early mornings, late nights, zero nonsense, and fans are saying this isn't just preparation for a fight, this is preparation for a rebrand. And that is where things start getting genuinely interesting, because here's what nobody in the mainstream is saying out loud. The Shakur Stevenson matchup that boxing analysts like Sean Porter, Roy Jones Jr., and Terrence Crawford have been carefully dissecting.
Everybody thinks that Tank is gonna go in there and just knock out Shakur. It's gonna
That's not gonna happen.
But it shouldn't have taken this fight.
I knew he couldn't.
For people to realize.
Yeah.
Right.
I knew that too. But yeah,
Shakur is a defensive specialist.
And I've been saying this for a long time. If you pay attention to how Tank would react whenever Shakur's name came up, I was like, yo, something that Tank knows that most people don't know or understand. There's something that he sees in Shakur. It could be the fact that Shakur was a 2016 silver medalist, you know?
He's got a lot to do with it.
He's that, the silver child of the...
Allegedly being positioned not just as a sporting event, but as the kind of cultural moment that generates the sort of crossover attention that turns athletes into icons. And sources close to absolutely no one I can verify are whispering that the business negotiations happening in the background of this potential super fight make the drama inside the ring look like a friendly sparring session.
With Shakur, you're going to see this boxing style that you don't usually get from Tank. You're going to see IQ. We saw IQ, but to me, it was low IQ because the reason why it was low IQ is because everybody followed the script. And what I mean by that is, you see somebody's IQ take place when a fighter makes an adjustment, and now you have to adjust to what that fighter is doing, and that's kind of where you see
who's smart.
You know what I mean?
Who get a hold of it.
I think my fight with Terrence shows a very high level of IQ from both of us. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's what Tank is gonna do with Shakur. He's gonna come into the ring and be a different version of him.
Because, and this is where it gets worse, the lightweight division right now is allegedly a chessboard being moved by forces that have very little to do with who actually wins on fight night and everything to do with who controls the narrative coming out of it. And speaking of narratives, let me just pause for a fake breaking news moment.
Wins it because of the discipline, because he showed against Timothy to stay very disciplined all night. And he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally, so it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, sometimes Gervonta has problems with this, but we have never seen Shakur have problems with discipline. We've seen him be more disciplined at the right times than we've seen him not have.
Because breaking online speculation is absolutely erupting right now around whether Vasily Lomachenko's reported return to the lightweight scene is a genuine athletic decision, or allegedly the most perfectly timed power move in the division's recent history. Because fans are pointing out, and they are not wrong, that Lomachenko appearing on the landscape at exactly this moment.
I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intangibles. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank's a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate Tank Davis. Tank is motivated and ready to fight.
Reportedly shifts the leverage in every single super fight conversation Tank Davis is trying to have, which means that the business challenges Gervonta is allegedly facing in securing those headline-making matchups are allegedly getting more complicated by the week. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. Reports suggest that the very analysts publicly praising Tank's intelligence and power are privately, according to online speculation, questioning whether his team has the strategic architecture to convert this comeback moment.
Different fighter. Shakur is different. People may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they say the same thing about Floyd. Because they defensive fighters.
Yeah.
Tank is not going to be able to hit Shakur like he hit everybody else. And he know that. He knows that. That's why he's like, he's boring, he's this, he's that. He's trying to diminish everything that Shakur have done.
Moment into the kind of global stardom that transcends boxing, the way certain fighters before him have transcended their sport entirely, and you won't believe this. But that conversation allegedly connects directly to why Shakur Stevenson's defensive capabilities, which Roy Jones Jr. himself reportedly described as a unique challenge Tank simply hasn't encountered before, are being...
Tank is great for what he do, and I respect Tank in the ring and his skills and his power and his attribute and he's smart.
Yeah.
He's definitely smart. He can box and I'm not saying I would pick Shakur just because our differences. I'm telling you as a fighter.
Yeah.
I will pick Shakur because I don't believe Tank will be able to land those big shots on Shakur like he does everybody else.
Right.
Framed not just as a boxing problem, but as a marketing problem. Because here's the uncomfortable, allegedly true thing that fan forums are losing their minds over right now. A fighter who loses a high-profile matchup in a certain kind of way can allegedly lose far more than a record. They can lose the entire story that was being built around them. And that is reportedly the calculation being made in rooms that Tank Davis may or may not have access to. And just when you thought this was purely a boxing conversation, breaking again because we are getting reports.
Man is coming out of retirement and trying to make another run in boxing, right? And we're going to talk about that. Vasyl Lomachenko is coming out of retirement and targeting a return this fall, sources tell Ring Magazine. Lomachenko, now this is the part that you must pay attention to. Yes, you at home. We working. Peep this. Lomachenko's contract with Top Rank expired yesterday when the news came out. And Loma is now a free promotional.
Completely unverified, passionately circulated, that the discussions around Devin Haney as a potential Tank opponent are allegedly being used as a negotiating chip in conversations that have nothing to do with Haney at all, which, if true and fans are saying it absolutely is, would mean that multiple fighters' public-facing career moments are allegedly being orchestrated with a level of behind-the-scenes coordination that makes reality television look spontaneous. And I am not saying there is a conspiracy. I am simply reporting that the internet is saying there is a conspiracy.
He tries to go the Gervonta Tank Davis route and link up with PBC or something to get that fight made, which would be a big mega fight, right? Or Zuffa Boxing and Turkey, they're throwing money around, probably more than what he was getting. Fight on the horizon, you got the Shakurs, the Keishans, the Devin, well, not Devin, because he's a little bit higher and they already fought, so that ship is probably sailed, but Gervonta Davis.
And the internet, as we know, has a complicated relationship with being wrong. But here's where the whole thing tilts completely sideways, because sources who definitely exist are suggesting that the tank time mentality being promoted around Gervonta Davis's comeback, the early sessions, the late nights, the no-nonsense energy, is allegedly being carefully documented, not just for training purposes, but for content purposes, which means the very discipline being displayed is allegedly also being produced, packaged, and prepared for a narrative release that will reportedly coincide with a fight announcement designed to generate maximum online engagement. And look, I'm not saying that's wrong, I'm saying that's allegedly genius, and also allegedly slightly terrifying, and also allegedly exactly what every major celebrity athlete in 2026 is doing, whether they admit it or not.
Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And you ain't just got to work with Tank. I got other guys that y'all can work with. So if you want to get some work, if you're getting ready for a fight, we'll help you get ready for the fight. We'll give you some work. You know what I'm saying? This is based on weight classes that I got up in here. Floyd make it, you know, that's what Floyd like. Floyd likes seeing that work, you know? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you ain't coming to work, don't come. Simple as that. This work, you know, we out here. We ain't ducking no, we don't duck no spawn. Everybody want to get some work. You know, I sit back and look at this thing, man. This thing's for real. Gotta keep it.
Because here's the thing about global stardom that nobody in these press conferences will say on the record. It is reportedly not given. It is allegedly constructed brick by brick, training session by training session, strategic matchup by strategic matchup, and the fighters who understand that are allegedly playing a completely different game than the ones who think it's just about what happens inside the ropes. And speaking of what happens inside the ropes, back to Shakur Stevenson for just 1 second. Because Terrence Crawford's analysis of that hypothetical matchup reportedly touched on something that fan communities have been debating for weeks, which is whether Tank Davis's power, undeniably legendary, reportedly terrifying to be on the receiving end of, is actually the variable that matters most in a fight against someone with Stevenson's elite defensive discipline. And online speculation is firmly divided, passionately divided.
It's tank time. What time is it? Tank time. Tank time. T-Tank. Tank time. Baltimore in the house, y'all. Yeah, this shit up here right here. Little slip solo. Oh, I forgot to let y'all know, Iceman Hawkins, Emily.
Almost dangerously divided on this question. And that division is allegedly being monetized by parties who have a financial interest in keeping the conversation going rather than the fight actually happening. Which brings us to the moment I have been building toward this entire time, the twist that reportedly reframes everything you just heard, because here it is. What if the fight you want to see is never meant to happen? What if, according to fans and analysts and unnamed sources and the collective anxiety of an entire sports community, the conversation about Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis versus Lomachenko, Tank Davis versus Devin Haney, is itself the product, not the fights, not the outcomes, not the belts, but the anticipation, the debate, the clicks, the comments, the shares, the watch time, and every single moment of speculation, including this very video, is allegedly part of a media ecosystem that profits from the dream of a fight more than the reality of one. And if that's true, and I'm not saying it is, I'm saying fans are saying it is, then everything you thought you knew about how boxing super fights get made, get delayed, get dangled, and get discussed is allegedly a carefully managed performance. And the only question left, the one I need you to answer in the comments right now, is this: if you found out that your most anticipated matchup was being intentionally delayed to maximize the business value of the buildup, would you still watch, or has the machine allegedly already won?